When I first started traveling around the world and speaking to authors about writing and publishing success for Kobo Writing Life, I came up with what I called the 3 Ps of self-publishing success. They were patience, practice, and persistence. After sharing and then briefly explaining what each of them meant, I would remind the audience that those elements were not all that different from what it took to be successful in traditional publishing. I enjoyed drawing comparisons between those 2 paths, which, in 2011, when I really started to make the rounds in the writing and publishing community speaking circuit, were quite diverse. Now, of course, they aren't necessarily diverse in separate paths. They are more intertwined and complex, as authors understand the benefits of taking a hybrid approach to their writing and publishing journey. Just a few months after I left Kobo at the end of 2017, I agreed to do a talk for them at a writing seminar that focused on the business of writing. As I reviewed the slides that were sent to me for the presentation I was giving on behalf of Kobo Writing Life, I spotted a version of my 3 Ps in the deck. It was like looking at an ex-lover, an old flame. I felt a sense of nostalgia for it. I was reminded of the good times we had together, of the shared memories of the 2 of us working together, helping to enlighten writers' lives. But in that same manner, I saw how I had grown since first creating it, or, to follow the old flame analogy, how we had both grown in different directions, still appreciating what brought us together, but also appreciating how our paths diverted. I was reminded of how I had drafted those original 3 Ps up in about 5 minutes, likely either the night before or perhaps even an hour before I took the stage, sometime in late 2011 or early 2012. And then had continued to use those same Ps in various other talks over the years. I had taken that hastily drafted concept for granted over the years, but I hadn't really taken a longer, more reflective look at it. It's funny how, when you look at something from the outside, you begin to see it in a new light. This, of course, is one of the reasons why an editor brings such value to a writer. It's not just their skills related to language, grammar, and story. It's the fresh and outside perspective they bring. So I sat back, and I admired this concept, this structure. I am, after all, a fan of alliteration. Sorry, I really should have said that I admire, adore, and advise alliteration, and I am an ally to its application. There, that feels more applicable. So, ever since I delivered this concept, this old flame for the KWL team, I've been reflecting on it and finding a new perspective on it that is different than when I first created it. Elements that I suppose I missed when first drafting it together. Yes, those 3 elements of patience, practice, and persistence are still definitely true. And I had ordered them in a way that sounded better rolling off the tongue. It was something I could easily conjure up when a writer would ask me for short and quick tidbits of advice. The 3 words could easily be rhymed off, always in that order. But I began to realize that those were merely about half of the overall picture of success. Yes, the 3 elements were necessary ingredients, likely the core or underlying foundation for a writer to build success. But there was more. After reflecting on my career representing self-publishing, digital publishing, and bookselling, and all the information I had read, listened to, and participated in sharing, I determined that something was missing. I needed more Ps. And I needed to reorder them. And so, here are all 7 of them in what I feel is a more natural order. Practice, professionalism, patience, progression, persistence, partnership, patronage. There's even a bonus P thrown in there for good measure, promotion. Within each element, I will share stories from both my own experience, as well as examples from writers I know and whose own journeys I have followed over the years, to help illustrate each P.